Hello. In this instructional video, we are going to cover 3 different items. We are going to learn how to import a graphic. We are going to learn how to make an object follow an irregular path that we set prior to making the path. So we had been like clicking and dragging on our motion path, but this time we're going to use a pencil to draw that path out. And we are going to learn how to insert sounds. Now, I will tell you that on this particular computer with this recording software, I cannot record my computer audio. So, when you see the sound here, I will actually be making that sound because the computer sound doesn't record. Alrighty, so I'm just going to go ahead and play this so we can talk about where our goal was going to be. So we're going to import a rocket graphic. And we're using that rocket graphic just to trace over. You can see this rocket. I actually used the pen tool to draw. And then you're going to see the crazy path that the rocket follows. And I've set that rocket to orient to the path. And you'll learn what that is. And then here is where our sound is playing. So I am going to go ahead and close this and start from the beginning to show you what we're going to be doing. All right, so we are going to create a new document, and that new document is going to be in the advanced mode, ActionScript 3, a height of 400, and we want to change our width to 600. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to go out to the internet, and we are going to find a simple rocket drawing. You can pick the one that you want to use. If it'll let me copy this image, I'm going to use this one. So I right click, copy image, come back to animate. Can't see the top of my screen there. Edit, paste and center. Now you can see that in terms of scale, this is really off. So I'm going to go to my transform tool and make this graphic smaller. And now on layer 1, frame 1, I am going to draw a rocket. And, we can use a variety of tools from over here. I may actually give my paintbrush a try. Sometimes I like to use this paintbrush, although I'm not too good at it. Just kind of testing my brush sizes here. I think I'm going to make a dark green rocket. I don't know. I kind of really love my pen tool, so I might go back to my pen tool. Let's see. So my line is not showing up with my pen tool. I remembered why. Because we want to create that new layer. So I'm going to create a new layer, click in frame 1, and now I think I am ready to draw. So that's quite a bit thicker than we want. So I'm going to adjust my size over here. That seems much more correct. Now I have to remember some of my pen tool principles. I'm going to use my Alt key or Control key to come back and click there. All right, yeah, I'll take that to start with. I'm going to use my oval tool. Yeah, I kind of like the looks of that. And I'm not going to put the stripes on it. I'm going to put my wings on next. I don't know if that was quite the correct rocket terminology. Control or Command on the Mac. And I really like the way that one looks. So I'm going to hold the Shift key so I can click both of those. Control C, Control V. I made a second one. I'm now going to use my transform tool, and I flipped it. And I think I'll put this bottom one yet. Oh, it went back to layer 1 for some reason. I hope all of that is on layer 4. The easiest way for me to find out is turn it on, turn it off. Yep, it is, thank goodness. And there's my rocket. All right, so now, actually, I kind of really like these lines. Maybe I'll include those. So now I'm going to come down to layer 1, which is my graphic, and I'm going to delete that graphic. So now I have my rocket. I'm actually going to, I'm going to click and drag to select it all, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And I'm going to move it to the top corner here. And I now need to select the entire graphic, modify, convert to symbol. I want to make sure that it's a graphic, and I want the registration to be centered. Now I am going to take my pencil tool, and it doesn't matter what color, and I'm going to draw a path. And I do want your path to have 2 humps and come off. Okay, so have your path very similar. We're now going to select the path, but when you select the path, it's really important that you double click to select it, because if you don't, Animate kind of reads these breaks and it'll look at it as a separate line sometimes. So double click to select the line, and then on the keyboard, Control X on a PC, Command X on a Mac. So when I do Control X on my keyboard, that's what I just did, it's going to disappear out of my screen, but it was copied to my clipboard. So now I am going to come over here and I'm going to right click on frame 1, and I'm going to say motion tween, and then I'm going to go to edit, paste in place. So now you can see that it has taken the line that I drew with my pencil and it has my rocket following it. So right now you can see the rocket is always pointing up. We want the rocket, the nose, to follow the line. So to do that, I am going to go to my properties and go to be on frame 1, go to frame, and I'm going to say orient to path. So now you will notice that the rocket follows the path and it's oriented correctly with the nose. All right, so now we want to put some cool rocket sounds in there. So first thing we have to do is we have to download our sound, and I am going to ask you to use a site called SoundJ, and it is a free sound effects site, and we are looking for transportation sounds. Sometimes it comes to this don't hit anything, just hit your back button and do it again. And inside all of these sounds there are additional sounds. Unfortunately, there is not a rocket sound, so I went to airplane sounds. And if I remember correctly, yeah, so you guys can't hear my screen. I think the flyby sounds pretty good. And we're going to be downloading the WAV file. So you can see it'll come up right here. This is where it's downloading. So back in Animate, I'm going to go ahead and use one that I downloaded earlier because that'll be a little quicker. The first thing that we need to do is we need to import that sound into our library. File, import, import to library, plane takeoff, and you can see that right here is that sound file. Now we're going to keep our sound on its own layer because that keeps things cleaner. And we're going to double click so we can name this sound. And we are going to take this sound file and we are going to drag it into our screen. Now everywhere that this is, you can see that we now have sound. I know you can't hear it, but there's sound all along there. And sometimes you're going to want sound everywhere. Sometimes you're only going to want sound in certain spots. So I'm going to show you how to modify that. So I'm going to click on a frame, and in my properties, under sound, under sync, I'm going to put, I have to insert a keyframe first. I'm going to, insert keyframe. Now it looks weird, but believe it or not, I believe our sound still plays here. So if this is where I wanted the sound to stop, I can tell it to stop. Now I know you won't be able to hear it, but I need to see what happens. Okay, now we don't have any sound. What did I do wrong? So when I do something wrong like this, oftentimes for something simple, I just delete the layer and I start again. So I'm going to drag my sound file in. Well, let me do it this way. I'm going to insert a keyframe where I want that sound to start. Yes. Now, if this is where I want it to stop, let's see. Nope. Let me insert a keyframe. Well, I'm swinging and a missing here. Okay, third time's the charm here. So I'm putting a new layer in, and I'm going to name it sounds. And I want you to ignore what I was talking about with the properties. So in our library, before we drag that sound in, if we want the sound to be from 5 to 15, we're going to go ahead and insert keyframes. And we want to make sure that we stop back in the space where we want the sound. And now when I drag that, you can see it's only going to go in there. And I know you can't hear it, but I can. There's only sound right here. So good luck. Give it a try. I should be in class today to help you out as you're working. Ask questions. Your final submission should have a rocket that is relatively well drawn, that is oriented to a path, that has 2 humps, and you should have sound in the middle portion. I don't want sound the whole way, sound in the middle portion. And you will be doing a file, export animated GIF, and then this is what you're going to upload to your Google Classroom. Take care. Cancel that. Glad I remembered that GIF don't support audio. So we want to do a file, export video/media. We want to know where we're saving it to. So I'm going to save this in my animation file. And I want it to be called Rocket. And I'm doing it as an H.264, my entire movie. And that is probably going to open up Adobe Media Encoder, which is just fine. And then I can see if I go to my documents, my animate folder, here is my rocket. And you can't see it, or you can't hear that the sound works, but it does. So just a note, make sure we're exporting as that animated GIF. I'm sorry, not animated GIF. Export video media.